So let's welcome everyone. Hey guys, welcome, and ladies, welcome to our monthly workshop. And this one is about Python packaging for openSUSE in general. I guess we will be more focusing on Tumbleweed, right? But like we may be covering some of the Leap aspects as well. The person driving the workshop will be Antonio Larosa. Antonio is working in the desktop applications team, and you may actually know him for his involvement in KDE for openSUSE. So, Antonio, I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Lubos. Well, as Lubos said, I'm Antonio Larosa. I'm going to show you a bit how to package Python applications on Python modules on openSUSE. So, can you share my screen?
Thank you.
Yeah, I will probably remove this. Perfect. So, I will assume that you all know how to use OBS. In general, one of the things that we have to have in mind is that we have a devel language Python project where we have most of the Python packages in openSUSE. If we go here, we can see that we have 2,300 and a bit more of packages. And then there are also some sub-projects where we have other packages related to, for example, to Flask, or related to Azure, or related to numeric applications, mathematical applications, Jupyter, etc. So the first thing that we have to keep in mind is what are we going to share to package. So let's go to PyPI and search for an application. In my case, I already had I already prepared for some packages to package. In one of them is timeout executor. Okay, let's assume that we want, for some reason, to package this. We can also, for example, if you are working on a Python package on your own, then you can package your own application, of course. In this case, for some reason, let's assume that we want to package this timeout executor. So we will start by branching and from devel languages Python and branching any package from there. That's what I usually do when I don't have a home project for some application. For example, one of these, it doesn't matter which one because we are not really going to use it. Can you see
yeah, maybe increase it a little bit. Generally, like this is really good practice because you get like the you get the setting from the project that you are or package that you are forking, so you don't struggle with settings and so on manually. That's actually a very good trick.
So basically, for example, let's pick Python Babel. As I said, it doesn't matter which one we are going to branch. So we are going to use OSC branch, devel language is Python, which is the project, and then Python Babel. Okay. Well, I already have that created in my home project. Okay, as I said, it doesn't really matter because that's only done to create the home Alarosa branches devel languages Python project. Okay, and then we can check out this this package that we have branched, and that of course will tell me probably. Oh, no, I don't have it in my directory.
The nice thing is OBS starts to build it immediately as you branch it, which is really cool.
Yeah. So now we can go to this to the directory that reflects the project, the home Alarosa branches devel languages Python. Well, I have many things there, but assume that the directory is empty. In most cases, if you are starting with this, the directory will be empty, and then we can create a new package in OBS. For that, we are going to use OSC mkpack, and then we are going to create a package for timeout executor. Okay, So we have to keep in mind something, that is that in OBS, or in openSUSE, all the Python packages have the prefix Python dash and then the name of the package on PyPI. Okay, so let's write that down. We are going to make a package, Python timeout executor, right? And that will create a new directory, Python timeout executor, which is empty, and we can start adding files there to build our package. Okay, we can now download the source code and everything manually, but of course there are better solutions, which is basically the Py2Pack script. Let's increase a bit so that it starts in the beginning of the line. Okay, so we have Py2Pack, and we can use the fetch command to fetch timeout executor. Okay, that script connects to PyPI, checks the timeout executor package, and checks the latest sources and downloads them to the current directory. So now we have here the latest version of timeout executor, and now we have to create the spec file. Okay, but then of course creating a spec file is something that is tedious and is a lot of work. So we have a better solution, which is to use the generate command for Py2Pack. That creates a Python timeout executor spec file that we always have to check, and that's a bit, I think that's too big. Is that big enough?
Works. Yeah, works.
Perfect. Perfect. So if we go here to the beginning of the file, we can see the generic copyright header lines, the name of the package, which is taken from PyPI, the version. There's a summary, which is taken from PyPI somewhere.
The gray area on top, you could see there, like if
in
you
the gray
scroll.
area? Okay.
Yeah, like little bit. Yeah, there, exactly.
Exactly. Thank you. So as you see, this is not really helpful. So in general, we always have to edit this file and try to be a bit more descriptive than the upstream authors. Okay, so library to execute Python functions with a timeout, for example. Okay, that's a bit more descriptive. Then the license is taken also from PyPI, but in this case, for some reason, there must be some small changes in the wording. So we have to use, as this says here, fix me no SPDX, which is a standard for license names. And in this case, we can see clearly that it is a MIT license, MIT license. Sorry. So we can just keep the SPDX name, which is MIT. Okay. URL for the application, for this thing, well, we usually have here a homepage link, but in this case, it's just a GitHub repository. So let's use that. Okay, for URL. As you see here, it's already the link for the source file is already there. And also, which is the interesting thing about Py2Pack, it already fills all the dependencies for whatever you are creating. So we don't have to, that saves really a lot of time. Yeah. It also generates the requires with the dependencies as they are specified inside the sources. And also calls the Python RPM macros that we need to call in openSUSE. I will talk a bit more about that later. Okay, so now we have the description of the package, which again is taken from PyPI, and in this case, it's not helpful at all. It includes an example on how to use the library, the Python library. We don't need that because that's not part of a real description. There's a license, which is not something to put in a description. And then the description is mostly empty, so we have to write something down. In general, it's not recommended to just copy the summary, but in this case, since I don't want to lose a lot of time, but in general, it's recommended to write a bit more in the description, okay, not just one line. Okay, and we can see here that it's already also filled the prep section to unpack the sources. And there's a macro here that builds the sources, the Python package, and also a macro that takes care of installing everything. I will talk a bit more about this when we really build it. Okay, let's try for now to build this. Sorry, we have already two files. Okay, the sources and the spec file. There's one more file that we need to create, which is the changelog. And for this, we can use the OSC DC, which creates a new entry in the changelog. And since we don't have any changelog, it will also create it.
Antonio,
So,
we have a very nice comments in the chat. People are saying, I wish I would have already, it would existed when I was starting to code and so on.
yeah, it helps a lot to package Python applications. For the initial entry, I have I'm used to write here something like initial release of, and the name of the package, Python timeout executor, and the version, which I already forgot, 071. Okay, and I wrote another one, it's forgot, 071. And now we have everything that we need. We can add all these three files to OSC and start the building, which will probably fail, yeah, because
you did not
it
commit,
needs...
right?
Sorry?
Did you commit? Let's just check.
No, I didn't commit. I'm building locally.
Oh, okay.
Because I wanted to see this error first. This is quite common when you are packaging a new Python module, that it depends on something else that we also don't have in openSUSE. So we are going to create this async wrapper first. And for that, we are going to go again through the same steps. Basically, we create a Python async wrapper package. This also serves as a reminder of all the steps. Okay. So we go in here. We fetch async wrapper. Okay, we generate the spec file. And we edit the spec file, mostly like the previous one. Async wrapper Python library, for example. The license is MIT. The URL is, well, we are going to leave none here, but you get the idea that you have to write there the URL, because in other case, we don't have time to show all the things that I want to show. Okay, and the description of the package. We're going to remove all this. And we're going to leave the prep section, build, install, and files. Then we have to create the changelog, initial release of Python async wrapper 0.0. Yeah, 0.0. So we can add all files and then build. I am used to build things first locally, and when I tested that they build fine, then I commit to build them on the server. Of course, you can also just commit to the server and let it build there. Okay. Okay, and this is the interesting thing is getting all the library. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Here, for example, it's failing because this package contains a dash, and there are some people that sometimes replace dash with underscores. So
underscore, yeah.
In this case,
these are really useful because like people will hit these issues. So I'm really happy that you are, that you are actually
that
demoing
was
it live with all the
idea.
issues that may actually happen. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the error here, basically. It's uncompressing the sources, and then when it tries to change directory into the sources, the directory doesn't exist. If we have a look at the sources here, well, even in the source file name, we already have an underscore there, and we can see there that is async underscore wrapper. So we can now edit the spec file, and here, when the sources are uncompressed into the prep section, we have to change this to an underscore. Okay. Let's try again. Let's increase a bit this. Okay, and it's already built, but then there's a problem when collecting all the files to put into the package, because it doesn't find the async-wrapper file. Okay, so again, we have to go to the files section and change this to an underscore.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, this is the RPM build errors, file not found. Okay, so now let's try again.
That seems like this one will pass.
I hope so.
All the tests, yeah.
Yeah, it will. So if you see here, we have a Python async wrapper package in OBS, but we are building 3 different packages for 3 different Python flavors: 3.10, 3.11, and 3.12. And that's something that we don't have to care about, because that's something that the Python macros that we use in OBS, in openSUSE in general, take care of that. Okay, so these already, for example, here, when we are saying build requires Python module, this is the name of the Python module, and this is the version that we need. This macro Python module takes care of requiring the Python 3.10, 3.11, and 3.12 versions for building. And then these macros take care of building the 3 versions, and this macro here into the file section takes care of creating all the three different packages contents.
Antonio, I guess that you want to show it later, but there is a site that has all of these macros, right? Like explained specifically for
yes, exactly. Let's write it down. openSUSE Python. Okay. This is the openSUSE package in Python policies. Yeah, and this is what we originally call single spec, because at some point we have different packages for all the different versions, different flavors, and then we changed that to a single spec file that takes care of everything. That's contained. Those macros are contained into the Python RPM macros package, which is something that Py2Pack already included for us here. And then this page explains quite well all the macros that we can use and how they work. And you see here, for example, the build requires section, how to use that, how to do specific checks in case we need something specific for Python 2 or for a specific Python flavor, for example. Yeah, this page is very, very useful. Exactly. This is
Antonio, meanwhile, we got greeting from Uzbekistan.
Sorry?
We received a greeting from Uzbekistan in the chat.
Ah,
so, anyway.
Okay, so we have already built this, so we can commit that to OBS, to the server. We can see here that OBS is already, OSC is already taking the change log entry as commit message, and it will commit the 3 files that we have created. Okay, we can check here what we are going to commit. It's okay, of course. So let's submit it. Okay, so if we go now to build openSUSE.org, sync wrapper. Okay, and we have here the package that we have just committed less than a minute ago. Okay.
Actually, one thing was really useful when you type the package name. Imagine that somebody maybe is missing a package in the distribution, but he didn't check if maybe somebody did already package it in his home project. That would be like my first advice. Look it up. You can also use software openSUSE.org, which looks through home projects, but like this is good as well. So, I recommend that to be the first step. You may get like maybe the person didn't finish it, but you can get like starting point for packaging.
That's a good point. Also, for example, if you are looking for a sync wrapper, if you go to the double languages or in general, if you search in OBS for the async wrapper package, also search for underscores, changing this because sometimes some people might have used some other naming. For the standard is to use whatever is in PyPI. Okay, that's what everyone should use. But yeah, it's good to always search for it in case someone else have the package into his home directory. Okay, so I closed it. Yeah, it's building here in OBS. Okay, it's already built. So now that is here, we can go to the previous package that we have here, which is timeout executor. If you remember when I tried this before, it failed, saying that it couldn't find the async wrapper package. And now we should have more luck. Exactly. Now it found it, so it's building. You can see here how it is downloading all the flavors for the different dependencies. And again, the same issue, of course. It's probably by the same author, so it has the same issues. Again, let's do this directly. And try again, OSC build. Okay, and it worked. So now we can commit to OBS. Okay. And now we can go, well, you will see here more packages, but just ignore those. These two first at the beginning are the ones that we are working now with. So
that's actually very good advice. Also, keep in mind that if you need maybe additional dependencies, you really want to keep them within the same sub project in your home project. So, you build them all together, right? So you do not.
That's very, very good advice. I mean, in general, if you are working with different packages and they have new needs, you put them together into the same project, and maybe later you have to submit them to different development projects. But in general, when you're working with them for the first time, it's better to have them into the same project. Also, there are some cases that you might not be able to do that, and then you will have to work with packages using different projects. For example, I have here the home a la Rosa branch of Devel languages Python project, and then there is also the Flask. Okay, everything colon Flask. And sometimes here I have some packages that need a new version of something that belongs to the Devel languages Python project. So in those cases, you have to include the other project from this one.
Yeah. So basically a different combination of dependencies, right? That's the
exactly.
That's the
So
problem.
you cannot. Exactly. If you need a new version that is not available in factory, you have to develop the new versions of different packages in different projects, and in those cases, you have to include the dependencies into the other projects. So let's assume that in the Flask project, we need a package from the dev languages Python project. So we are going to add that, which is something that you taught me this morning, how to do it graphically. And I think that will be easier to show it that way. For example, we are building here the package for the 15.5, 15.6, and the openSUSE Tumbleweed distributions. Let's focus on Tumbleweed in this case, as an example. And we need also a package that is built into the Tumbleweed repository into dev languages Python. So in that case, we have to go to the repositories tab, search for the Tumbleweed repository, click here on plus, and then we can include another languages Python. Okay, and in this case, if I am developing the package and it's still not even in the dev languages Python, but it's in my own home project, then we can include that one. And we include the Tumbleweed repository from there. Okay, so now when one package here needs from this project needs a package that is not available in this project, it will search for it search for it from this other project and this other project. Okay.
The priority is important, right? Like if you are getting a problem, you may want to,
Exactly. You can change the order here, and put this one first. Exactly.
Antonio, we do have a question in the chat. Maybe you will want to answer later, maybe now. But there is a question about what tech stack are you most familiar with? I suppose, like what languages, what frameworks, like you personally. What would you say? What's your strongest? Where do you feel strongest, I guess, is the question.
I usually use C++ and Python. I usually use Qt, KD frameworks. But I sometimes use, not really use Perl, but I can edit Perl scripts, but I'm not masochist. So.
It's very difficult to actually contribute to openSUSE, like I would say, some sort of wider spectrum without Perl or Ruby. Like at some point you will have to touch them.
Yeah, I can also touch a bit Ruby, but
Same
really
here,
I'm not really. It's not my strong point. Really, I mostly use Python and Bash and C++ and C, of course. Yeah.
Amir, does that answer your question? I suppose.
Okay. So let's continue from here. Okay. We were working here on the Python project. We have here that is already building this package. Okay. So now when we are done, we can submit it to the development project. Okay. So in this case, we need both packages. We are going to, you can submit them in a different order, but I think it's better to submit them into the dependency order. So in this case, we can submit with OSC SR.
Submit request, yeah.
Submit request, right. So in this case, if you just do that, it will complain that it doesn't know where to submit it to, because there is no target predefined for this, because we created
it's a brand new package.
This package exactly as a new package, and then we have to decide where to submit it to. In this case, the general idea is to, I think I have it here. Here, you go to the dev languages Python project, search in the subprojects, and try to find similar packages. Okay, something similar that may go with this other package. In this case, we can submit them to languages Python. Okay, it will say that it's a new package, Python async wrapper needed by Python timeout executor that will that I will submit.
I like that you don't. You like very long commit messages. Okay. Antonio, private question. Like,
sure.
so we are getting the same from Ameya again. Like, if you like C specifically, like you
If I
mentioned
like
C++. Yeah. Do you like C?
I mean, I prefer C++, of course. I know that many people these days usually don't like C because of the memory issues and all that. But if you take care of, if you have care and you try to, you have experience with it, it doesn't need to have too many errors.
I also suppose since you work on Qt, that's usually C++ domain,
Yeah.
while like development for GNOME would be C, right? With Geopsych.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In general, I mean, in C++, these days it's not really common to use pointers that much, and you have a lot of frameworks, a lot of things that you can use in order to minimize the memory issues that you will have. So yeah, in general, it's quite safe. I mean, it's not, of course, it's not Rust, but yeah, it's good enough for me, I think.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, we are submitting this. This will create a new request, submit request, and then we go to the other directory, Python timeout executor, and then submit to the same project. Okay, new package, Python timeout executor. Okay, and you can see here that we have these two consecutive submit request IDs. And now if you go to the languages Python project and check the request tab, we have here the two submit requests that we have just created. Okay. Here, someone will review them and probably complain that the description is not okay. Some probably complain that the summary.
Loop, right?
Sorry?
It is a feedback loop. Like maybe you will receive
exactly.
a response, hey, could you please submit it to some other develop project or sub-project? Like, I think this is, yeah, it's
exactly.
useful feedback loop. Yeah.
And especially for new people, my main advice with all this is to be patient and to, if someone rejects your contribution, then probably along with the rejection, there will be some comment about please improve the description, or please do this instead, or please fix this, or please fix that. So
Antonio, could you actually show it? Like, I think it's quite easy. If you go to request, you can look up the rejected or declined, and you will show people where to look for the exactly declined. I think that'd be fine. And there will be many. You can see that, you would not be the only one. And see exactly on the right side. Yeah, you see in the comments.
Yeah. Here you have, you are missing changes in patches in the changelog, for example. Yeah. Okay, so this person probably forgot. I mean, there are two patches that were removed here, and probably they were not mentioned in the changelog. Okay, so that's the idea. Someone reviews them, and the changelog always have to describe what is being changed. And in particular, every time that a patch is added, removed, or modified, it has to be in the changelog as a modification, or as an addition, or as a removal. Okay.
The reviews are basically one big strength of openSUSE. So, you have review of the package when it gets to develop project, and then you have additional review when it gets to factory Tumbleweed, and then you may have additional review if it goes to SLES or lead. So people are really looking into it.
Yeah. And in general, if you see, the package builds fine. I mean, there's not really a problem in the package itself, but we have to take care, because otherwise, if we don't describe exactly the changes, then maybe 1 year in the future, when someone is looking at the changelog and says, where was this patch modified? Or where was this patch removal? And if it doesn't appear there, then we'll waste some people's time, probably in the long time.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Is there any
rejected
question?
one. Declined ones. You want to go
Declined.
to open? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
This
question.
can
I don't
take.
see any new questions in the chat.
This can take a day, or sometimes it's minutes, sometimes it's hours, sometimes it's a couple of days, depending on everyone's schedule. So yeah. So can we change to another example?
Yeah, Antonio, on this screen, actually, by the way, there is question. I bet that you get some of your changes declined, didn't you?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, everybody did.
Of course.
One thing. So if you go to back to the package, some people may be worried about like, hey, why does it fail to build on? I think it was like /12 in there or something like that. Yeah, 15. Okay. So like
15,
that's not a big deal, right? Like if you are submitting to Tumbleweed, it may be perfectly fine that it didn't build on like all the releases. You may want to fix it, but like not necessarily. You know, if you care only about Tumbleweed and maybe Leap 16, which is upcoming, you can easily remove these repositories from your project and focus on what's working for, especially for the beginner. Maybe a way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, you can just ignore those unresolvables, or you can, remove here the build flag for this, and just assume that it will not be built. In any case, fixing this to build for 15.6 or SLE 15 requires adding some other macros here. Yeah, that's probably not the contents of this tutorial. But yeah, in general, those macros are explained here into this page that we were talking about before. Let's see.
It's like SLE 15 something, right?
15, yeah, here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to add some of these macros depending on what you are building. I mean, the target of the build. But yeah, in general, you can just ignore that if you are submitting for factory. Sorry, here. If you are submitting the package for factory, it's okay to have those not building.
Somebody may open a bug, for example, hey, this package is not available for Leap and I need it for XYZ. And then it's up to the maintainer, like, hey, do I actually want to invest time? Or maybe that person is willing to invest the time, and you may find like co-maintainer.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So if there are no more questions about this, we can show another example on how to add another package that contains an executable. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So for this, I found this very simple application that is count files. In fact, I did a check with count file 2. I did the test this morning with count file 2, which is a very simple application that counts the number of files in a directory. I mean, it's only for this. So let's package that, and again we go. Let's clear the window here. We go to our home branch project and create a new package, which is going to be called count files 2. Okay. Let's go inside and let's use the wonderful, try to pack fetch count files 2. This downloads the sources. Then we are going to generate the spec file, and we are going to create initial release of Python count files 2 041. And we always cannot forget to check the spec file. Okay, in this case, the summary is good enough, recursively count files per directory. The license is not okay because it's not in SPDX standard. If you have problems at some point, you can just search for SPDX list. SPDX.org contains all the licenses with the identifier, okay, with the name that they have to use. So, for example, if it's a BSD3 close license, then you have to use this. If it's a CC by SI, whatever. Here is the whole list.
You
and
can
in
also
this
use
case,
combination. You can use and if you have multiple licenses, and or, you know.
In some cases, yeah, the package has different licenses, and you have to use several at the same time. In this case, for example, if GPL v3, then you can just use
dash 3.0 dash only, I think. Yeah.
Let's search for this. Okay, and here we have something interesting, that there are two different versions of GPL3, that is GPL3 only and GPL3 or later, because the license can have that particularity. So 3.0 only, but we should check which one is the one that this project is using. So let's uncompress the file and check the license. Okay, sorry. Basically,
it's
each version, if the program specifies a certain number version of the general or any later version applies to it, you have to have option. Okay, so this is the or any later version, right?
Seems so. You can also check the good thing, if you are not sure, and if you may be confused whether the later or not should be in there, you can actually click on the license, see the license text. I recommend to double check the header. You know, from the view that you actually had on the SPDX, you can actually see how the license starts. Yeah, exactly. You can just click on the license on the left. You will see the beginning, and you can compare, like, if it matches the text in the text, right? That helps.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's also legal review later in the process, but like this is good start.
Yeah. Okay, so no, sorry. Let's edit this and change that to GPL3 or later. Okay, URL. Again, we go to PyPI and check that there is a home page here, which is basically the link to the GitHub repository. But okay, so let's use that. Oops, sorry. Copy. There. Okay, so as you see here, the dependencies are already written down. The description is shorter, at least, than the previous package. But okay, let's keep that for now. Well, something that that we can see here when reviewing the spec file is that this line is duplicated. For some reason, when parsing the sources, the py2pack script made some mistake and put that line twice. So let's just write it down. And here, when using this macro, maybe I could explain a bit what this does.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this application, this Python package builds a count files module and then installs a count files executable. Okay, if you have this executable installed from the 3 different Python flavors packages, then we'll have a conflict, because when we install the Python 3.10 package, there will be an executable, and when we install the Python 3.11 package, it will try to overwrite it, and we don't want that. So in that case, what we do is to install the executable. For example, I will show an example. Mutagen does this, for example. Mutagen inspect. Okay, if you see here, we have the 3.10 version and the 3.12, sorry, the 3.11 version. And then the one without the version is only a symlink to the alternatives. Okay, and inside the alternatives, this is well, this is not really. Sorry, this is something data alternatives.
Maybe
root.
you need to be root. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I don't remember. List is that dash list. Inspect. No? Because it's used with one name. No. Let's write that.
Don't you? Is it like per binary or per package? It's per binary, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's for by binary, I think. But the matter
maybe it needs to be the path try user bin. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
Must not contain.
Well, we can show all, and we have an example here.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, Alembic, for example, is another example. Okay, so in this case, yeah, because the problem is that sometimes the name is a bit different. The name of the group that defines the alternative is a bit different. Sometimes this can happen. Let's do this then. Alembic. Yeah. For example, in this case, if we list the Alembic alternatives, we have two alternatives, the 310 and the 311 package. And for now, we have the auto mode, which is selecting the 311 package. Okay, but we can install both. We can install both packages. And when building the package, we have to use these macros to take care of all that. Python clone -a adds this binary and changes that to the 3 different flavors. It clones the binary for the 3 different Python flavors. And then this post section takes care of installing the alternatives into the alternative update alternative system. Okay. So again, we also need to write this here once, because count files is the name of the binary, and it's also the name of the group, of the set of alternatives. Okay, in the post and section, which takes care when you are removing the package, we also use this Python and install alternative macro. And then in the file section, we only have to specify the file one, Python alternative, and the name of the binary. And this already takes care of including all the 3 alternatives for us. Okay, more or less. Are there questions on the group?
No, not to the Python. Many questions for like discussion afterwards in the bar, for example.
Perfect. Yeah, if they are not related, we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so let's try building.
By the way, Antonio, I think that could be actually quite useful to mention, because maybe somebody wants to package for openSUSE, but maybe they are not running openSUSE. And like, what would you recommend to use so they can actually use OBS? I'm not sure if Ubuntu has OBS client. I suppose it does, because we also support Ubuntu and others. But like, let's say that you are a person either on Mac or Ubuntu, not openSUSE, and maybe you want to actually provide your package for openSUSE. For we have people actually developing for Fedora and openSUSE in parallel, right? I use DistroBots, for example, but like, you can't do easily local builds there because it's a container, not a VM, right? You would have to have root privilege. Root privilege container can't do that, yeah.
Yeah, in general, this is mainly doing a chroot. So yeah, it's not really, but you can change that. In fact, in some, well, this will show my password, so I cannot show you.
Don't do that, please. Don't do that.
But yeah, you can change the configuration of OSC, and yeah, you can make it use KVM or QEMU or something instead of chroot
Rootless
to create
button.
a build directory. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I used that, for example, to build for S390 into my workstation, my regular Intel workstation. But yeah, it's not something that I would recommend building for S390 to anyone because it's really slow. But yeah, you can do that. I mean, and in general, if someone is not using openSUSE, going back to your question, probably just using a container with Tumbleweed or using a virtual machine is good enough.
Of course, we advise everybody to use openSUSE, but like if they have to develop for multiple distributions, just get like OSC client, either in container or have a VM, or maybe it's available for your distribution. OBS can be tricky. Don't mix it up with Open Broadcasting Service. So if you will be looking for OBS, you may be tricked. Yeah. You want Open Build Service. Yeah.
Okay, so this build failed because I forgot. This package is called countfiles2, but it generates a module called countfiles without the 2. So let's change that. I think, in fact, only the module changed the name. Let's try. There we are. We have 3 flavors, and if we check the contents of the file of the packages, we can see that the 310 package contains the countfiles symlink with the countfiles 310 binary, and then all the modules for 310. And then if we check the 311, okay, this is a symlink to alternatives, and then everything else is 310, 311.
This is actually quite interesting because I did not know. Well, I kind of like expected that, but like you can see that we are actually compiling Python modules into the bytecode, and that's happening automatically, right?
That happens automatically, and it's good because it's already optimized and built, so it's faster to run the application later and when a user is using it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so now we have here. Well, this build info is a result of building the package here. We can. Did I commit it? I think I didn't. Probably.
I think not. Yeah.
I think I didn't even add the file. Yeah.
Oh, no change up. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's add the 3 files to OSC.
You can also do OSC add remove, but like that, there would be no difference. But like it would add all files from your directory. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then we can commit and build everything in OBS. I have a script that takes the current directory and opens it into OBS.
Nice.
A bit faster. Okay.
Maybe as we wait for building, I would recommend one thing. Antonio was not modifying heavily the Py2Peg generated specs. So I guess like spec cleaner wouldn't do much. But if you do heavy edits, you do a lot of new lines, you maybe, like rapid edits, I would still recommend to use spec cleaner to make sure that, your spec is as clean as possible. Your build requires are sorted. Again, Py2Peg will do it for you, but like if you do a lot of edits, like it may be a wise idea.
Yeah, imagine that in the future we continue developing this and we have to add a new dependency. For example, we add it here, and we add, I don't know, Coloram is already there. Babel that we saw before. Okay. This is wrong because it's not alphabetically ordered, so we can run a spec cleaner. I used to do this in general, in order to do a diff between both files, between
Yep.
the original and the new file, in order to see what it changed before committing.
Yep.
And you see that it's reordering things all around. For example, this Babel module that I added was moved at the beginning. Python RPM macros is added at the end, by the way. Interesting. And yeah, and the test section is added at the end also. So yeah, it's a good thing to run the spec cleaner every now and then. Okay, so probably this already finished. Well, this failed probably because yeah, it's not built in there. But as I said, we are not caring about that right now. So we can submit that also. Okay, OSC SR and submit that. But I think we are short on time, and I wanted to show a bit more things, a few more things. It's okay if I continue, or
I feel
is everyone already
we can.
sleeping,
No, nobody's sleeping. We can do that. Like in worst case, we can shorten it later on. But yeah, we'll continue.
Okay, let's show now how to update a package, if you want. Let's see. I have two packages, Git Python and async SSH. You showed me this morning a nice page that is probably good to show everyone. Repology.org. Go directly here. And here you can search for Python packages that are outdated. It went. That are outdated in Tumbleweed. Okay. So we can see here that there are a few packages that have new versions that we can update. Let's see, for example, we have
so basically, if you don't have any packages and you feel like you could do that and you would like to contribute, this is actually a good way. Like if people complain that it could be a little bit outdated in certain area, this is a way to help, not just for Python, for any package that you can think of. Just look at what's outdated in Tumbleweed, and then you can try to help, submit, update. Nobody's blocking you. This is a very nice way how to start.
Yeah, it's always good to have the latest version, and it in general is not really a lot of work. I mean, it's a bit easy to start with this. So let's start with async SSH, which is I think a fine example. We have 2.15.0 and the new version is 2.17.0. Okay, so for that we are going to we are going to search for the package on OBS. Async SSH. Okay, we search for the development project. We skip all the home projects, and we see that it's developed into the Devel Languages Python project. So we can branch from there, or in general, there's a trick that I usually use, this branching from factory. Okay, if you branch from factory, yeah, exactly. Async SSH. Oops, sorry, I forgot the
CO or BCO, yeah.
Branch, yeah. So it goes directly to the development project and branches from there instead of from factory, and that saves us a step. And then we copy this to check out the project, the package, sorry. But since I am already into the project directory where I want to check it, I can just do this. Okay, and we have here the version that we currently have in Tumbleweed. So there are two kinds of packages, and at this time, I think I will show you the other example that I have prepared so that you can compare the two different kind of packages. Okay, the other package that I wanted to show was Python git Python. Okay, which is this one. We have 3.1.34, and the latest version is I don't remember, 3.1.40 something. Okay, so let's do the same trick. Git Python, OSC branch, openSUSE factory, Python git Python, and it's also in developed languages Python, so we can also check it out.
There is a little special thing that users may notice, the service file, and I think that may influence the way how, yeah.
That's what I wanted to show, exactly. We have here a service file, which we didn't have into the previous package. Okay, this package just uses the spec file, the changelog. It has one patch and then the sources. But this one has a service file and service data file. The important thing is the service file. This is something that runs some scripts into the server, into OBS, in order to get the sources of the package. And for this, the version of the package that we are building is defined into this version, into this file, sorry, to this service file. So as you see here, this retrieves the sources directly from GitHub, and it checks the revision 3.1.34 from GitHub, and uses that as a version prefix also. So if we go to GitHub directly here, yeah, we can see that the latest version is 3.1.43. So we can use that instead.
Okay. Go up, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And now we can run, sorry, we can service run. Well, there is something special here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The run will run the scripts that are kind of automatic, but this is manual mode. So we have to run the manual run, MR. Okay, so it will run the manual scripts, the manual services. Sorry. This is cloning the repository from GitHub. Then it recompress it to a tar xset, and then changes automatically the spec file to use the new version that it has downloaded from GitHub. Okay, and in this case, this spec file has some special thing, that is that the maintainer has a simple version defined here that also includes the version. So we have to change that manually. Okay, and you can see here that we have the new sources, the old sources, and the changelog was already created for us with all the commits from GitHub. Okay, so it already wrote update to version whatever is downloaded from GitHub, and then includes all the header, the labels of all the commits. Since the previous version, of course, not all the commits. Okay, but there are a lot. Okay, so we can remove the all sources. We can add the new sources. And then we can try building this. Well, this build, we can, we can go to the other package. And we can see how to update this other package. In this case, since there's no service file, we can just change the version on the spec file to the new number, and then run service local run. Oops. Okay, and this takes care of downloading the file needed by the spec file, since the spec file mentions the sources not just by the file name but also by the URL where it can be obtained. Then it's downloaded, and we can just remove the old one, add the new one. In this case, the changes file is not, of course, it's not added automatically, and we have to edit this file. But I have a trick here, and it's that I already prepared the contents of the changelog. Well, I will show you how. I will show you what you should do in this case. It's better because we are showing what people should do in order to do this. Well, for example, I think at this stage we can search for this in PyPI. Then we search for a changelog. Okay. There is no changelog link here, so we go to the sources. And usually developers have a changelog file here or news file here. Sometimes there's a docs directory where everything is there, and here we can see changes RST, and this is the changelog. So basically, we copy this, right here, something like update to byte 217.0, copy this here, and use the format that has to be used everywhere in the in openSUSE, which is, something related to this. Where the most important thing is that the lines don't go over 68. In fact, it cannot reach 68, 67 characters per line. Okay, so you have to do this a lot, and edit the changelog. In any case, I will do that. Well, I already prepared this, so let's do this. And probably you notice something that I wanted to ask, because if you see here, the old version that we had was 2.15, and we are introducing now 2.17. So we cannot just do this. We have to include also the changelog for the update to 2.16.0. Okay. So again, we go to the changelog, copy this, format it correctly, and I will go the quick path and do this. Okay, and as I said, it's very important to not go over 67 characters per line. That's the top. That's the maximum. Okay. I will commit so that it's built in OBS. We can see here the differences. In these cases, it's good to check that we are not submitting some debug line or some test that we did or something. It's okay, so let's commit. Yeah, and in the meantime, we can see that Git Python failed because it contained a few patches. Okay, there are some patches that are applied in this package, and the version changed the sources, so the patch don't apply anymore. Okay, so you have to take care of fixing the patches in this case. I already did that. I don't think we have to go over how to fix a patch, right?
We don't. We could make another workshop if people are interested in it.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, there are tricks here and there that might be interesting, but yeah, in general, it's not the content for this workshop. Yeah. So I just copy the patches that I had prepared, and let's build this locally, where this is building into OBS. We can check with OSC results the status of the building in OBS.
Yeah, again, we care about Tumbleweed here, right? Yeah.
Sorry?
We care about Tumbleweed here for users,
Exactly.
Yeah. And even when you actually look at the factory and you see unresolvable, that was for 32-bit Intel, that's not something that should concern you.
Yeah. Okay, and this is also failing because CVE. Yeah, because this CVE, this is a security issue that was already fixed into this version, so we can just remove that. I mean, I know that because I already checked. It's not something that just can be removed like that.
But generally, like, please make sure that if you are disabling patches, removing patches, adding patches, you always make a note about it in the changelog. You've already covered it in the previous case. Just be aware. It's important. This is typical reason why your submission would be rejected.
Exactly. In general, what I used to do, I mean, everyone has its own steps, everyone his own workflow or her own workflow. But in general, what I used to do is to comment things here and there, and then when I see that everything is building fine as I want, then I just fix things and remove the comments. We can use OSCdiff to see what I changed here. Okay, I added all the changes. Well, the service file added all the changes, but since I am removing this CVE file, yeah, we have to include that, as Luba said, into the changelog. Oh, this is long. So drop patch, which is already included in upstream.
That's also a good signal that you know what you are doing. It's not accidental, Yeah.
Exactly. That's a good point. Because sometimes you may remove something because you are testing something and then you forget and commit. And yeah, sometimes that happens. So that's clear that why it is being removed. And yeah, and we can just, well, it's building, so we can just commit. And in this case, it's probably already, no, it's not finishing.
Takes time to install the minimal build route, so yeah.
Yeah, we can see here that it's in the testing.
That's
this
it.
package does a lot of testing.
Actually, maybe good point. I'm not sure how much is it relevant to the test, but like if you would be trying to package something Python related that has test suite, which takes significantly longer to test than build, you may want to consider doing a test subpackage, in my opinion. If it's like hours, of mathematical tests, for example.
Yeah, I didn't include an example of that, but that's a good point.
Yeah, we don't have to, but like, but I think it would be good practice. Yeah.
Yeah, something interesting, by the way, is that sometimes some tests take longer to run into OBS than they take to run locally. So you might build a package that builds fine locally, but when building in OBS, it fails because it takes too long. And there's some test that checks how long it takes to run something. In this case, for example, Python, that's a fix for something like that. You see here, this patch exactly fixes that. I mean, when it's building, the extra time that is expected to take is multiplied by 6. So that
nice.
So that it builds in OBS correctly.
Okay. So we know it will build for a longer time, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's
nice.
building now.
That was not as long.
So that's Python. So we can submit that probably. Well, I will not submit it because I would like to check the changelog correctly before submitting. But yeah, the idea is to, well, in general, I think it's, yeah. But I have to write down there the changes to the patches. So yeah, I will not commit it right now. But the idea is that since I mean, you can see there in linkdiff that some of the patches were revised. Yeah, like that one, for example, the one that I just showed. So yeah, you also have to write down into the change
Actually, I think since you are showing these patches, I think that we should do like some good practices on like manipulation with patches, because that may be like turn away point for many contributors who would otherwise like to update packages, but they got stuck on how do I rebase the patch to the current, sources. I think that would be actually a nice continuation of this one.
Yeah, maybe. Because I used to edit the patch files manually. That takes experience.
But you
But
can also
yeah,
have like a edit patch thingy. That's the one that I was using to make sure that it's like syntactically correct at least. Yeah, I think it's called edit patch.
And also Quilt is a very useful script for that.
Too. Yeah.
Release patches. I think they were plural, right? I don't remember if I changed one or two. Yeah, this one also was rebased. Test the scripts. And the removal. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we can commit this change.
By the way, don't worry so much about the commit message to your home project as much as about like the changelog. The changelog is more important here, at least in OBS. Yeah.
And as I said, I won't submit it because I have to spend some time reformatting this, so that it doesn't use too many characters per line. But yeah, the idea is to once it's fixed, you just do a CSR. And in this case, since we are branched from the devel project, it will just submit it to the devel project.
Exactly.
Perfect. So I think that's.
I have something to add, Antonio, because in this way we could get more maintainers. So if a user finds packages which are like outdated and it seems like nobody has been touching them for a long time, you may also apply for maintainership. If you would like to maybe maintain these packages for a longer time, which would be really happy for.
True. That's true.
You can mention it maybe in the submit request text or in the comment in the submit request that you would be willing to maintain the package. It would be more than, I guess comment would be better. Or if nobody responds, which could be the case, especially if it's a package which doesn't have a maintainer, maybe the sub-project doesn't have maintainer too, or not a responsive maintainer. You may want to message factory@lists.opensuse.org. And you may want to write, hey, I would like to update this package. I'm not getting responses from maintainer. Could you please add me as a maintainer, co-maintainer, or something like that? And we can sort it out. There's also
in general, when you submit a package, you will see that it has a review for the maintainer of the package, but also you can go to the development package here, and you can see here who is the maintainer exactly.
You can also see people emails, right? Like if you are pending feedback, you can click on. You can click on yourself, for example.
I will do it in myself, right? Yeah, you can see here my email exactly.
You can message the person.
You can just ask this person, or if that person for some reason doesn't respond, you can just go to the project and look for the maintainers of the project. And then you can ask any of the maintainer of the project to please add me as maintainer of this package because this person is not replying or something.
If you hit a case that there is one and that one doesn't respond, then I recommend to use Python mailing list or the factory mailing list. You can find them on lists.opensuse.org. If you type it, like you will see all of them, and you can just exactly factory the first one or the Python specifically. You will have to subscribe first, otherwise you will not be. And that would be my recommendation. Also, like especially if you are, maybe you can also ask, hey, is there like some area where people are looking for help? That would be another. That would be another use case. Sorry for using it for the promotion, but we could use more maintenance always.
Always, indeed. Okay, so I think that's probably all. So thank you a lot for
Thank you very much,
having me here.
Anton. Absolutely,
Thanks
absolutely. We are
everyone
happy.
for attending.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
So we will ask Rob to cancel the stream, I guess. Let me see if he's here. Robert, here, down the road. He just